This is your daily market review for Thursday, August 15, 2024. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market review for Thursday, August 15, 2024. Interesting day. Again, as we talked about all week, the economic data was going to be important. The reactions, rather impressive if you're bullish. It's kind of sad if you're bearish. Again, that's part of trading. If you've been wrong, it's okay. Accept losses, accept that you will be wrong, and that's why you define your risk. We talk about in a probability-based game, always be humble, always define your risk, and be careful. This move by the VIX, I think it's the biggest 8-day drop in the VIX ever. And that's what the market does. It humbles everybody at some point. So if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room, link description below. Again, I think one of the things that we've noticed about all economic data, it always gets revised. Again, going into election season seems like a very easy way to pump up the hype, but will it sustain? That's the question. Again, I appreciate everybody posting in the Discord room, doing their best to help each other out. Again, no one knows anything for sure. The best thing you can do is offer the best insights. And just know that nothing is certain. Again, the market, the economy, they don't always have to be linked. What happens now refers to usually the future, and sometimes that's hard to predict, and only those in the know. So again, if you need help, check out the Discord room, links in the description below. Posting a ton of trades on the Twitter. Started layering into some shorts again today, and some a little early, small. Again, this is what makes it so difficult, is that you don't know anything for certain. And that's where, again, if you define your risk, limit your trading, you're not all or nothing, it helps out. And if you're wrong, you're gone. Keep it simple. So if you want to chat, check out the live Zoom link and the calendar link. Let me know how I can help. Also check out the Back to Basics education series on my website or on YouTube. But again, this is the goal. If you're long, short, whatever, just win. That's all we care about, is wins. Don't care about the past. Don't care about losses, meaning that everyone loses. The goal is to just continue winning, doing the best you can. Need any help? Again, check out the recommended reading, videos, interactive brokers. Get your Goldman on. Again, a lot of folks, must have missed it. That's the thing. Again, we talked about that high interest rate. It's going to be really beneficial for folks. Oh, it's not on the education series. That's why. Anyway, again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. You get notifications when these videos come out. I apologize a little late today. Had a busy day, but that's the nature of the beast. So we know going into the Fed meeting in September, as the market rises, the odds of a 50 basis point continue to cut or to drop. Be careful. Just keep an eye on it. Bitcoin, it is definitely not at 59,000. I think we've talked about this, and this is where it gets really difficult. No matter what you think about gold, Bitcoin, silver, whatever, all these commodity names, I think in time you will go higher, but you have to be careful about the choppiness, sloppiness that's going on potentially. Again, now this rally is scary, meaning it's way too strong, way too fast. Not necessarily Bitcoin, but it just goes to show you that nothing is immune potentially. And the weakness that you're seeing here, know your levels. The levels matter. Obviously 56,000 is crucial. If we hold it, maybe we can bounce, get back up to the 69. If it doesn't, I don't know why you wouldn't back test this trend line somewhere in the 40s. Keep it simple, stupid. Oil, as we talked about, it's going to be volatile. Geopolitical stuff, all sorts of games going on. I think the downside is limited because we have to refill the SPR, but this is the hardest part. You want to be early. I've seen these names get absolutely obliterated. Natural gas, again, we like this long term. Not surprised it held support. This is why we talk about levels all the time. Levels, held, bounced, zoom out. I can do a box within a box. I'll just draw a quick line, right? I don't know how you want to draw it perfectly, but just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. The dollar. Really interesting action today in the dollar. It's been looking like it's going to crash and then it's going to rally wide and loose. ChopX, OpEx. Man, this is why options expiration, some people don't even trade options expiration because it can be so confusing. It doesn't make sense to some folks. And again, that's what we talk about. If you check the education videos, you're familiar with the insanity, the difficulty, and how much you have to be careful. So let me know how I can help. Again, TLT, talked about this today, posted this, said this was probably the easiest trade to buy the dip today. Again, I still think we're going higher, much higher. If you look at the Fed fund futures, pretty sure they're pricing in 8 rate cuts coming up. When? Obviously, it's not going to be tomorrow, but in time, I'm thinking somewhere between 8 and 12. That takes you to TLT somewhere in the 120s, in my opinion. Now, is it going to be a straight line move? Nope. It's going to be a great trade because you can trade around the position. How fun. VIX. Biggest VIX crush in history. Look at this. 65 down to freaking 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. Never seen anything like this. Never in the history of the VIX. Never, 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 never. Biggest smash ever. So if you had this on your bingo card, congratulations. It was one off. If you shorted the UVXY, killer. Congrats. Just be careful near term, okay? That's why it makes sense to start layering into shorts here. And if you're wrong, you're gone, but the risk reward is absolutely in your favor. We talked about the VIX chopping around. Keep an eye on this because, again, it typically bottoms first. Quick rant on real estate. Again, if you're looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate and you do not reach out, I will take it personal. Not in a mean way, but just disappointed that I couldn't help you because, again, I think that's the thing in this market. If you're looking at real estate, please be careful. If interest rates go down, hey, benefits buyers and sellers. If the market crashes, interest rates go down, people will not be, very confident, and that's where you can score. And if you're also very thoughtful working with a great agent and get your listings correctly, you will absolutely crush it. So let me know how I can help you get two agents for the price of one. Love to help out any way possible, whether it's just feeling around information. Let me know how I can help. SPY, impressive close. Again, this was not on the bingo card, right? Look at these levels. Somewhere in here. That's where I'd be watching. I mean, we're there. I mean, is this a novice gap? Thought this was, but then here, if you know what a doji sandwich is, we had back-to-back doji sandwiches. And it's where, if you go watch the education videos, it's where you have an up day, doji, gap up. Doji, gap up. This is pretty fast, y'all. Pretty furious. Be careful. Again, think about it. 510 to 550. It's almost it's almost a 10% move. That's pretty impressive. Like that's bear market rally kind of velocity. QQQ, same kind of thing, right? Into the 50-day, into some resistance. Could the gap fill? It's always possible. 50-day, too fast, too furious. Look at these doji sandwiches. Doji sandwich, if you know that voice. It's an interesting formation. Because again, oversold, overbought. This is why we talked about taking profits when the VIX hit 60s. I mean, I'm so proud of everybody who did take profits shorting. Again, if you went long, you hedged, you did pretty good. At some point, the risk reward, again, to me is downside, not upside. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. Do what's best. Try to do what the market's doing. Again, that's the goal. IWM, talked about the 50-day. Interesting. 20-day curling down. Gap fill. I'd be watching for retest. Remember, this is nowhere close. This is nowhere close to all-time highs. It's telling you something. Will it lead up? That's the question. That is the question, the million-dollar question. Look at this big gap, man. Runaway gaps. Are they novice or traps? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Just be careful. Again, you only know till after. That's why hindsight's 20/20. And so you have to act based on probabilities, and you have to do the best you can. And again, are you always going to be right? No. That's why the goal is to try to do the best you can. Layer in, layer out. All or nothing traders are gamblers. Gold, chopping around. Have to give silver some credit today, right? We talked about it being oversold. It needs to continue this rally if it wants to really push. Now you broke over the 20-day. We'll see if it sustains. Really got over these levels. But again, the miners not really that excited. You would think the market's up huge. Miners would be smoking. Can't even get over earlier in the week highs. GDXJ, similar, a little stronger. Keep an eye on it. AEM, as we talked about, like I would think this thing would be up $2 today. Big doji. AG, you'd think silver up 70 cents. Doji, 20-day. I mean, Newmont, you think this would be over 50, starting to rip. Doji. Pass, right? This thing should be on fire. Doji, 100-day. Keep an eye on it. Tech, credit where credit's due. Tech ripping. Interesting area up over the 618, little gap above. Keep an eye on it. Micron, again, we talked about semis were oversold. They were due to bounce. Man, you were getting the levels that matter. Just keep an eye on this stuff. Does it have to reject immediately? Does it have to rip over it, trap? You don't know. Worth watching. AMD, we talked about this being oversold. Interesting. I mean, it's closed over these areas. I mean, could you get the 200-day? NVIDIA started layering into shorts today. NVDA filled this gap here. Could we fill the gap up here, hit the trend lines? Always possible. Could we retest the highs? You have earnings next week. So this is, again, layer in, tight, small. If you're wrong, you're gone. It's so simple. Just, again, the risk reward makes sense. Nancy Pelosi, I think she made like $10 million or something on this trade. Congrats to her. Keep an eye on it. SMCI, Again, I don't trust NVIDIA long-term at all. And we talked about why in the past. Said it was oversold, due for a bounce. Again, probably the 200-day. Let's just drag this across because it actually, there's a wick. See that? Makes sense. Watch those levels. Intel, we talked about this piece of poop being oversold, gapping down on earnings. Is it playing this game where it's going to chop out for a while and then maybe pop? Good luck. SMH, look at this, right? Like, wow. Back into the resistance up here. Keep an eye on it. Just, again, oversold due to bounce. I hope that makes sense, y'all. Adobe, come on, baby. Come on. Again, didn't take any of this, but I'm like, man, I would freaking get excited if we saw some pop up here. Worth an eye on it. Took a short in some Apple today. 225 area made sense to me. Doji. Again, I was watching on the 10-minute. If you check this out, right, you see the resistance here. Keep an eye on it. Novice gap again. I mean, look at this. Green, 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 green. Okay. Buffett probably sold some today. Just keep an eye on it. Amazon. We talked about this being oversold, rallying. Don't know. 180 is my guess. Meta, like the short here. But hey, market holding up. You don't know the exact highs. That's why people bring rulers and they try to get very specific. And you just don't know where the final trade is, up or down. It's not easy. I mean, look at this thing. You would think on the day when the market hit 65, it would take out lows. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. It's a probability game. Never is easy. I mean, it can be easy, but it's hard to believe in the easiness, meaning like, market's meant to take the most amount of money for the most amount of people. So trust that. CRM, 100, 200-day cross. Keep an eye on it. Get over a little bit, get in the box, fill some gaps. You see it there over in the 270. Always possible. Guggenheim, again, the breakup potential. Again, I've said in my mind, if they break this up, I think it has more value, locks value with the stock versus reduces it. Seems a little stuck. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Microsoft, again, today it should be up like 2-3%. XDiv today. Just keep an eye on it. You got next levels there. Again, congrats if you're long. I mean, this is the thing, right? It's just win. Just win. NDAQ, this is going back on my short list tomorrow. Watching it. MicroStrategy seems to be holding the 130 area, but man, not much pop. Netflix and crush bears. Look at this back testing old trend line. I mean, that's not very clean. Not very clean, but it's there. Again, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the key. I'd be watching, again, high volume highs and lows, like this candle bar right here, 679, 680. Roblox, hey, look at that, getting back into the 40s. Seems to always reject here. Will it break out? I mean, you could play this long if it breaks out, because this would be a big consolidation pattern with higher lows, higher highs. Keep an eye on it. Worth checking out, right? PanW, when we talked about this, long-term, love the stock. Talked about dip. Look at this bastard. Talked about playing the bounce. Wow, you had 50 points real quick. Now, getting a little tired. Tesla, everybody loves Tesla. Okay. I mean, again, the market's strong, bounces back, 20-day trend line. Maybe it's got some more to rip in it. Again, I mean, people talk about the long term. It's like, yeah, we talked about the failure. We talked about the games in 2021. Now it's just a trading vehicle. Trade it. Congratulations. Insight, we talked about this company. I think they get bought out. They had some FDA releases this week. We'll see. Again, I hope it pulls back. I think the gift will be in the 50s. Pfizer, I know some folks are trading this, watching it, holding the trend line. Makes sense here. Keep an eye on it. McDonald's, back up, right to the 200-day. Dink, hits it. Now you've got a reference again. I'd be watching that real hard. DKNG, again, we talked about being oversold when market peels act like an onion. Everyone's crying. Probably do some bounce, and that's why it sucks for like something like Intel. It's just no bounce, but okay. I mean, I'd be watching the gap fill, 35. Airbnb Bizzle, again, gaps down on earnings. Sound like repetitive here. Oversold. Watch for the gap fill. If it gets it, and again, if it doesn't, it shows you how weak it is. Just keep that in mind. If you can't even fill these gaps. Costco. These candles are tight. The action intraday is not great. The volume a little higher today. Keep an eye on this. I mean, again, I'm not saying for sure it would fail, but you might get a 2-day range. You might get some like formations here that get a little interesting. Starbucks, as we talked about this thing being a piece of crap. Well, hey, you know what? Pieces of crap. That's why you take profits. The more you're up, the less you own. You say the chop zone. You said wait till 72 breaks to reshort it. We talked about that. We talked about it. Or if it's at the 50-day and you went down from 82 to 72, hopefully you took some profits. You've crushed this trend. Then they get buy out basically the CEO, take over the guy from CM, Chipotle. As I said, I think now you're going to be in a chop zone. Keep an eye on it. FedEx, nothing, right? Nothing. Look at that. That was the 20-day gift. I mean, nothing meaning like no follow through. Like that's a little scary. Caterpillar. We talked about it following Deere, 100-day after hours at 345. Deere earnings. Again, we talked about this. Man, if you took this trade, let me know. Talk about a squeeze when you're at the range lows, right? Going into earnings. Not surprised. Shorts took profits. We're watching the 200-day, 100-day after hours at 372. Not really much. Worth an eye. Nucor. Again, we love commodities long term. Just they're big choppy sloppy. X, as I've talked about, I think they get benefit from a Harris win, right? I think we'd sell out U.S. Steel all day. We'd let Japan or any of those companies. Trump wins? I don't think so. Vale, again, just chopping around. Arrow, nice bounce. But again, keep an eye on it. We like junior copper. CCJ, saw somewhere the hedge funds and institutions sold all their shares. I hope, again, we talked about the Goldman upgrade. They know. Wait for the Goldman downgrade. It's just going to be choppy, sloppy, with a probably lower downside. CF, again, we like ag long term. They're in big, choppy, sloppy zones. Don't get too excited. Mosaic, NTR, chop, 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 chop. AA. Sorry, I mean, just not much to say. I mean, you got the references. Sold. I mean, chopping, bouncing. XLF. Oh, pull my hair out. Pull my hair out. Really? You're going to do this to us? You're going to gap? Fill the gap over in Doji? Yeah. Okay. Got some shorts. Didn't add today because, again, for discipline reasons. Willing to wait and watch. Again, I don't want to layer into a loser, right? And again, if you stop out, you stop out and you add back in. Today's gap up, a little tricky. I mean, the range was 888 to 912 on the FAS. Not really much I can do there. Just kind of watching, seeing if we get the confirmation. If I need to stop out, I stop out. It's so simple. Try not to overthink it. JP Mo. Here we go. Chop, chop. I mean, again, why would you want to buy stock if they're not buying back their own stock? Morgan Stanley, nice rip to 100. Doji, gap fill potentially at the 101 area. Bank of America, again, people asking, is Buffett done selling? Buffett sells into strength. He doesn't sell the lows, folks. Holds the 200-day, fills the gap. I mean, clear as day reference is short with a stop. Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, back up at the highs. Man, could this be a head and shoulders top? That's something I'd be watching. KRE again with the IWM popping. Doji. I mean, it's again, you see so much stuff that just doesn't look that strong, but hey, the market looks strong. That's, again, when you dig into it, it's kind of confusing. Again, XPI, we talked about junior bios being a risk-on trade. Really not much. XHB said the 111 area would be a gift. 20-day. Again, you would think if things were great, this thing would be ripping. Now you watch for the Doji sandwich gap fill. If you see 113, 114, you should get excited. Solar, again, catches the bounce on the market. Kind of normal. Not really much to say. Sedge, hey, congratulations, up 10% today. This thing's been absolutely just curb stomped. ENPH, we said 119s. There you go. Keep an eye on it. First Solar, not surprised by the chop. I mean, you got a 3-day range, maybe in the 50-day gift. HYG, again, you got to be high out of your mind if you're buying corporate debt into a recession, but hey, you'll see what happens. No one knows anything for sure. Oil, it's all over the place. Just choppy, sloppy, geopolitical risk. Be careful. UNG, again, hate this product, but worth watching. I know a lot of people trade it. I like the KOLD short. We've talked about this endlessly. Keep an eye on it. XOP, here you go. 20-day, getting into the gap. Said watch the 128s. Great trade if you traded it. Congrats. Holler at your boy. Keep an eye on it. Valero, we talked about the gasoline names just being choppy and sloppy. It's pretty hard. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is just a wild act. I mean, this is just wide action. You want to trade it or you just want to watch? MPC, back at the 100-day. Europe, more European risk. CVE, we like the stock, right? Oil and gas is just going to be tough. I mean, I don't know what to tell you I don't believe Harris is leading, but we'll keep an eye on this. Again, range, areas, ExxonMobil, looks like it should break out. Chopping around. Occidental, again, Buffett just selling calls, selling puts, doesn't do anything, buys more stock. People get excited. He's just loving the chop. EQT, saw some institutions buying this today. Again, I agree. Just letting it play out. Again, they're probably buying at the 30 level every time. Last but not least, Flex LNG, up a couple percent today. Cool. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out. Sorry for the longer video, but just trying to do my best to go through it and be careful here. Just please be careful. Again, you might have feelings, thoughts, ideas. Nobody knows anything for sure. Now, again, you can use certain indicators, and again, they work sometimes, but then there will be outliers. Just be careful. Again, trust your stops, trust your discipline above all else. Talk to you guys and gals later. Peace.